This is a double funeral for biodiversity and the children of tomorrow, and the two are linked. Sometimes when a husband or wife dies, the remaining partner seemingly cannot exist without them and passes away a few days later, the two connected in life and love. The life, love, and hope we can pass to future generations are connected to the health of the natural world that we leave for them. We will hear two eulogies. We appreciate and we give thanks for the special gifts to the world of biodiversity and children, both of which are under threat, both of which are dying even now. Our first eulogy is for the loss of biodiversity.
Our Creator gave into our hands a world of beauty and abundance. We have held it as his stewards, but carelessly. We have spilled his gifts and wasted his treasure. How can we say we did not know the consequences of our actions? For more than 6 decades, we have seen atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations increase year on year. For over 30 years, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has warned us of the dangers. And we have felled the forests, burned the coal and oil, despoiled the landscape with our mines and mills. As Mikhail Gorbachev wrote in 1997, we generate incredible wealth, yet countless numbers of our kind remain destitute. In an era of globalization, the fantastic and the perilous flow side by side toward an uncertain future. We are the spendthrifts, living beyond the means of a world we have plundered without thought or care, and now the debt is being called back in. In the Arctic, we watch the ice retreat, and what is our response but to exploit the mineral resources that this makes accessible? In the next few decades, sea levels are expected to rise 1 meter or more, engulfing low-lying landscapes, driving millions from their homes. In the Himalaya, meltback of glaciers threatens the security of water supply for 1 billion people. Elsewhere, wildfires rage and the savannah dries to desert. Closer to home, here in Durham, habitats are threatened from the hills to the sea. Top-level predators such as the merlin are at risk, as are their prey. Natural communities are sustained through their interactions. We alter the balance and degrade the whole. We know that climate changes naturally, but we are forcing change at hundreds of times the natural rate. This is what our fragile biosphere cannot support. We are too many and too profligate. But with help from our Creator, we can reform and breathe life into the dry bones of our planet. Even at this late stage, there are ways in which we can control climate change sufficiently to allow us to mitigate its effects. But this requires us to make many changes to society, both institutionally and as individuals. Specifically, the black gold of coal and oil, irrespective of its economic value, must remain in the ground. In turn, this means that those of us who have exploited these resources in the past have an obligation to assist those nations who are now deprived of a major driver for economic growth and prosperity. Let us then ask our Creator to strengthen our love and make firm our wills to do His will, and help us to raise our fragile, glorious earth to a new life.
I stand here today as a mother and a grandmother. A child is a precious gift, a symbol of love, new life, hope. The love we have for our children is so deep, so protective, that there is really nothing that we would not do if we thought their life was being threatened. And it is. No parent should need to witness the death of their child or grandchild. I want to look away. You want to look away, but we can't. And what do we see? A coffin. Look inside. A child. Age. I cannot tell. The skin tight on the bones. Starvation, deprivation, pollution, drought, and civil war make age unknowable. And looking at the future, row upon row of tiny coffins or bodies in mass graves, poor, trusting, innocent victims thrown into a future which they played no part in forming. We've stolen their dreams and their future with our empty words. The ecosystems of our world collapse due to politicians' corruption and corporate greed, and Wall Street fairy tales of everlasting economic growth. As Greta Thunberg says, we are about to sacrifice the biosphere so that a few rich people can live in luxury. But it is the suffering of the many that pays for the few. Dear Lord, what have we done? We didn't know. We turned away. We were scared. We thought we were too small to count. Now stop. You know, this is inevitable. This is not inevitable. We're looking at a future yet to come. Another future is possible. We have a decade to move from fossil fuels to green, renewable energy, we're told. And our world leaders have a chance this year at COP26 to produce the strategy that will slow down this rate of global warming and save billions of lives. They could go down in history for doing this. For ourselves, small steps to live more simply and more sustainably in our homes works, yeah. And there's loads of stuff out there to help us, but it's only a start. And what we need to do is join together as community, to join a group where we belong. It might be a climate action group like Green Christian, but join a group and find your tribe. And we must all now come together as community to apply pressure. Together, united, we are stronger. 86% of the world's population belongs to a faith community. This is reason to work together. We need to care about something we are hearing. And faith shows us what to do with the information, how to react, that we give value and dignity to living things, and it reaches our hearts. I find hope because I know an online global action platform to help groups come together is starting up in October. And we're starting to talk to each other and work in alliance. So it joins up, for example, the Catholic Church with the Methodists and Anglicans. It pulls in all the climate action groups. It brings in families, hospitals, universities, businesses, and it's across the world. We are many. You are not alone. We can do this. This is doable. Pope Francis is now bringing in the Catholic Church as well. These massive institutions will seek to totally divest of fossil fuels and inspire and empower parishioners like ourselves to live more sustainably in their communities. And we will act through love for our children, grandchildren, and children yet to be born. I believe this is how the crisis will be solved, from both the top down and the grassroots up. Pope Francis told us there is every reason to hope that humanity at the dawn of the 21st century will be remembered as having generously shouldered its grave responsibilities. Truly, much can be done. So this coffin is either an end or a new beginning, a testimony to what we do or do not do now. Either we finally do this or we don't. Either we survive this by buying time or we don't. So what will you do now? I'd like to leave you with this poem by Drew Dellinger, and it's called Hieroglyphic Stairway. It's 3:23 in the morning, and I'm awake because my grandchildren won't let me sleep. My grandchildren ask me in my dreams, "What did you do while the planet was plundered? What did you do when the earth was unraveling? Surely you did something when the seasons started failing. All the mammals, reptiles and birds were all dying. Did you fill the streets with protest when democracy was stolen?